I heard that you were gangster. Not one to try to savor. Always focus on your paper. Don't got time to wager with your heart. I'm trying to switch up your cadence. Book flights and vacations. Tequila and relations. Kissing on new places. Oh, baby, let me change your life. You wanna see?
Hey YouTube. So I know it's been a while. And I've actually been dreading making this video. Yeah. So basically we are going to have a story time. So basically where we're at right now, I will not be driving trucks. So back up a little bit. My last few videos, you guys know, I was job hunting, trying to find, like what company to go with, and this, that, and the third. So I had finally settled on a company, and I wasn't going to share what company I was with because I did post a story on here while I was at orientation. But just for safety measures and things like that, because my plan was to record content once I got out on the road and stuff, and I just didn't want to share that information. But seeing as I'm no longer with the company, so I was with Warner, and pretty much it was like that was the only company that was willing to take me right now, being that I didn't have any experience. I had looked into several other companies, and basically I kept getting the same thing. It was like experience. So I was like, okay, even though everybody was talking me against Warner for their, own personal reasons, I was like, let me just go with them, get the experience, and then I can, move on to something else. So I, talked to the recruiter, got signed up, got scheduled for orientation. So I had some things lined up here at home that I wanted to be present for. So, we had to push my date a little further out. So, let's see. If y'all see me looking, I'm, checking on things on my computer, but I'm pulling up my calendar just so I can kind of give you guys timeline, if you care to know. So, let's see. So yeah, so I had a few things at the beginning of March that I need to take care of and be present for. So we scheduled my orientation for the last week of March. So basically the plan was they were gonna give me a rental car, and I was gonna go down on Sunday, excuse me, go down on Sunday and then begin orientation that Monday, the 27th. So once she booked the reservation, the time that she had booked was like 11 a.m. the day of. So, and the place she had it reserved at is like about 45 minutes from where I live. So, but really it's further into the city. So maybe like an hour and 15 minutes. So, that would put me, I would have to leave, at this time, get there by 11 to get my reservation. And because I used to deal with Enterprise at my previous job, I kind of know, just because you have a reservation at 11 doesn't always mean that the vehicle is going to be ready when you get there to pick it up. So you have to factor in like, you know, stuff like that. Then plus I was like, once I get on the road, it's gonna be like, you know, 12, 1 o'clock, probably. So then, you know, I'm gonna have to get food and then any stops along the way. So it was about, I was going to their Atlanta terminal. So that's about a 6-hour drive from where I'm at in North Carolina. So I was like, man, that's just, I'm not trying to like get into town that late, because basically that would put me getting into town like maybe like 7, 8 o'clock that night, and then have to get up for orientation. I think she said I needed to be in the lobby by 6:30 because orientation was at 7. So I was like, I want to get there early. So I asked her if it would be possible to book a flight. So she had told me they don't typically book flights, but they would. She just had to get it approved. But then she was like, because we had moved my orientation date later in the month, she was like, I can't book it right now. It'll have to be closer to that date. So she was like, I just want to let you know, if the flight prices are too expensive at that time, she was like, they may not approve it. And then, you wouldn't get a flight. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna book my own flight. So I took on the cost of booking my own flight down there, just so I could have a peace of mind of being early and, not feeling rushed in a sense. I want to be able to get there, get settled in, get acclimated to the area, and then just, get my mind right for what was about to transpire. So, did that, got my flight scheduled for that Sunday, and everything was all set. So fast forward, Sunday gets here, the 26th. Got all my stuff packed. My parents are taking me to the airport, and it's kind of rainy out on this day, but I don't think nothing of it. So literally, as I am picking up my bags and we are getting ready to walk out the door, I had signed up to get updates and stuff about my flight, which I always do on any trip I'm going on, because you never know what might happen. So I just want to get real-time updates. So I had a text message pop up on my phone, and I noticed it was like from one of those 4 or 5 digit code numbers. So I was like, let me check this. So I opened up the text message, and it's an update about my flight, and my flight has been canceled. Let me back up real quick. So that morning, my dad was like, have they said anything about your flight? Because on the news, they were saying, it was bad weather, like down that way in that area. And so I was like, no, I hadn't got anything. So basically I checked all morning long. And then, like I said, literally we were bags in hand, like front door open, walking out kind of thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what in the world? So I was like scrambling, trying to get in touch with somebody, and nothing. Like, trying to contact somebody on the weekend at these places, I don't know if it's this difficult at other companies, but I had a time trying to get in touch with somebody. So finally, I think my mom looked on the website and she got the recruiting number, and I called that. But the crazy thing is, on the number that I had on the directory thing, they had a a section for, not a section, they had a option for recruiting, and I pushed it and I still didn't get anybody. So I don't know. Anyway, so I got in touch with this guy. So he was like, he works weekends. So I said I was scheduled to leave today for orientation on Monday, but my flight just got canceled. So he was like, okay, no worries. He was like, we can just get you set up for, they do orientation every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, just for anybody that cares to know. Or maybe looking at going to Warner. So you can start any Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They can get you going. So he was like, we can get you moved to Wednesday. So I said, well, Delta has rebooked my flight for Tuesday, for tomorrow. Well, no, for Monday. So, because this was Sunday. So they had rebooked my flight for the next day. So, like I said, orientation is only Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So he was like, okay, so that means we're going to have to get you a extra day of lodging. So he was like, that should be no problem. So he was like, let me, send some messages and we'll get you set up. So he called me back and he was like, I got you all set up for orientation on Wednesday. We got you your extra day of lodging, blah, blah, blah. Cool. So then my parents was like, well, why don't you see if you can get your flight changed to leave on Tuesday instead? That way you won't have to spend an extra day in the hotel just laying around, basically. So I was like, okay. So I went online, trying to see what flights were available. So I got it rebooked for Tuesday instead. So I called the guy back, asked him, could we switch it? And I, still start on Wednesday, but just arrive on Tuesday instead. So he was like, no worries, I'll get it switched over for you. And, I have some messages sent to your recruiter. That way when she comes in on Monday, she'll see, what has transpired. And I had already emailed her and called her anyway, so she was gonna know. So, then, so yeah. So everything goes fine on the day that I leave. I get down to Georgia, get my hotel room. Everything's cool. Go to orientation, first day. So typically it's supposed to be a 5-day orientation. So the recruiter had told me that basically it don't matter when you start. So like if you started on Friday, it would run through the weekend. So weekend days, Saturday and Sunday are included, just in case you wondering about that, because I had that question. Because I was like, since I'm starting on Wednesday, do we go into the weekend or does it pick back up on Monday? So she was like, yeah, it goes into the weekend. So I was like, okay, well, that's cool, because, that way I won't be delayed in orientation and getting with a trainer and all that stuff. So cool. First day orientation. And to be honest with you, like, orientation wasn't bad. I don't know what I was thinking, but it actually went really well, to be honest. So the first day, we did a lot of paperwork, a lot of computer modules. So if you worked in any type of job that has you do like training modules, it's basically kind of the same concept. So they had I think there were 12 modules altogether that we had to do. So we got basically all login, passwords, all that stuff, to get logged into their system. We turned in, you have to do your social security card, ID, all that good stuff. For tuition reimbursements, you have to provide any receipts or paperwork from your school showing, what was paid. I paid out of pocket for my school. I went to, as y'all know, community college for my CDL training. So I paid for that out of pocket. So They had a tuition reimbursement program, so I had to provide paperwork for that. And then later in the day, we went outside. We did pre-trip. Y'all, listen, I was so stressed when he was like, we gonna pre-trip. And then we got out there and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna break all up into groups. So they brought out some of their leaders that work there, trainers. But they, I guess, come into the terminal so every so often and do like actual like hands-on training with you at the terminals and stuff. So they had 2 guys out there and they broke us up into groups. There was like 9 of us out there and in the orientation class. And so he was like, you know, we just gonna run through pre-trip, you know, just to see like what you know. So he was like, don't stress it. He was, because the first person, they was like, do I need to go through all the, you know, cracked, broken, bent, all that stuff? And he was like, nah, you don't need to do all that. He was like, I just need to know that you know, like, where and what parts and areas are. And so I was like, oh, Lord. So we went, it wasn't bad. So we went through that. I was like, sir, my brain is like in panic mode because I literally can't think right now. So he was like, you good. He was like, you got your L's already. So he was like, I know you know the stuff. So he was like, I just need to know that you like basically what you would be looking for like when you go out on the road, when you do your pre-trip. And he was like, to be honest with you, the stuff that you learned in school for pre-trip, he was like, you really not gonna be doing that out on the road. He was like, you know, you're gonna get your system to like what you check for, your major things. But some of that other stuff, he was like, you really not gonna be doing that. So I was like, okay, gotcha. So then we did coupling and uncoupling. So y'all, this was my first time being in an automatic truck. For y'all that's been here, y'all know the school I went to, we learned on a manual. So I had to learn how to shift them gears and work that clutch. So yeah, when there was a girl that was training the guy that was, you know, helping us go through pre-trip and stuff. So she came out there. So I was like, honey, you're gonna have to show me how to use this because I ain't never been in an automatic truck before. And then too, so they have the 5th wheel release buttons in their trucks. Well, the newer trucks. So I was like, I don't know nothing about no button. I don't know nothing about no automatic buttons. I don't know nothing about none of it. So I was like, yeah, I mean, just give me a quick rundown and yeah. Cause I was like, the 5th wheel, I'm used to manually like pulling that out. So y'all know my struggle with that in school. So, I was like, yeah, y'all fancy. Y'all got buttons and all of this stuff. This is nice. So, did the coupling, uncoupling exercise. That went good. Then so I think that was it for day 1. So then, day 2, we went back. They do provide lunch. And then the hotel, so they have their own hotel, at these terminals. So, the hotel provides like a bag breakfast, which I did not eat. I purchased my own snacks and stuff once I got there. I just did like a, you know, Instacart order and I got a case of water, snacks and stuff like that. So, but they do provide you a lunch, which it was okay. Now the first day, it was good. They had some options you could choose from, but I had got baked chicken, and I don't know where they got it from, but it was good. Them other 2 days, I don't know. I got one day it was like some beefaroni, and I ate it just because I needed to eat something, but it wasn't good. And then I forgot what I got on the last day. But anyway, so second day, what did we do? We did the simulator. So this was also my first time in the simulator. They had one at the school I went to, but it didn't work. So we never got to experience it. So as we were waiting to do the simulator, they only had 4 or 5 simulators that you could use at a time. So there was a handful of us that were waiting. So while we were waiting, a couple of the instructors come in from, so basically the safety team leads the orientation. So a couple of the safety people come in. So they was like, well, we about to do y'all road tests while they doing the simulator, and then we'll just switch out. I was like, oh shoot. So thankfully, like the main instructor, he is like former military, former police officer. He was cool, but you can just tell like he just like by the book kind of thing. He just, straight to it. And what straight shooter, no chaser. Is that how that go? Yeah, he just straight to the point. So thankfully he did not do mine. Actually the guy, drug testing. So with Warner, they do a urine sample, and they also do hair follicle. I know a lot of people is like iffy with that hair follicle, like that knocks out a lot of people, and they don't be trying to do it. And I almost had a time with the hair follicle thing. So I got my hair done like this for orientation, because I was like, when I get on the road, I ain't trying to be messing with no curly hair or anything like that. So I was like, give me my braids back, and so we can just get up and go. So basically the guy was like, yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out, because he was like, you're gonna have to take one of these braids down. So I was like, sir, so my ladies, if you know anything about crochet, then like my hair is braided down, so this hair is like crocheted into the cornrow braids. So pretty much I was like, sir, this ain't gonna work. Like my hair is not inside these braids, so I don't know what to tell you. So they will take like if you have like hair on your arms or like armpit hair, they will do that. So, and this is kind of but it is what it is. So I had tried to like grow out my armpit hair, just because I knew like the way my hair situation was gonna be. But so I had an event that I went to early in the month, and so I had to shave for that, because I was wearing, it was a fundraising event. So the dress that I wore to the event, I can't be walking around with like hair under my arms, so I had to shave it. So but I thought maybe like it was like 2-3 weeks in between it. I thought it was gonna be enough. So we tried to, but then they was using like these cheap little razors too, and it just won't it won't happen. So he was like, girl, this is not gonna be enough hair. So I was like, ugh. So I was like, he was like, you probably gonna have to like get somebody in the class to help you take this down. So, and I was like, I ain't trying to take this down. Like, I just got to do it. So the other guy, he come in. So he was like, let me see if I can help you. So he was like, your hair, about like my sister, you got that good hair. So what we did was we pulled the back up, and I have a braid at the bottom, like a base braid. And so he was able to kind of like comb some of my hair out of the braid and snip that off. So yeah. So I was like, okay. I was like, well, I hope that's enough, because I ain't gonna be trying to have to do this again. and apparently, so they were filling in for I guess they have a third party agency that normally does that, but for some reason they didn't show up or something. So a couple of the safety staff had to collect samples and stuff. So my thing was, is it gonna be enough? So anyway, if you're wondering about the drug test aspect of it, urine, hair follicle. So they do the hair follicle. So fast forward back to the road test. So the guy that was able to pull the hair out to get the sample, he did my road test. So go to the truck, and basically it's just a simple, ride around town, and then, you come back. So the truck that we got in, I guess the last person using it, it was uncoupled from the truck. So I had to do that. And then, we did our little quick walk around. So he was kind of giving me like tips on kind of how to do it, like once I got out on the road. So he was like, this is how I did it to like save time and not have to go like back and forth and, do things. He was like, but you'll find your own system once you get out on the road. He was like, this is just, suggestions that I try to give, just to help new drivers out. So I was like, cool. I was like, well, I appreciate it, because I need all the advice that I can get. So, did all that. So got in, did the road test, went fine. I could tell I hadn't been in the truck in a while, because like doing turns and stuff and trying to gauge like the distance, like where your truck actually is versus how it looks, because it be looking like you closer to stuff, but you still got room to like move into it. And so yeah, so he was like, it's all good, I get it. So he was like, the feeling to come back to you. So we did the road test, come back, he do his little notes, blah blah blah. So then to go in and do the simulator, which that was fun. Y'all, I hit a tree in the simulator. But I wasn't the only one, because listen, I feel like some of that stuff, like, it's set up to, it happens. It's not really anything that you did. It happens. Because I was nowhere near the tree. So, like, I'm coming up to it. I think it was like an intersection, but I was turning to the left. And it was nothing but, like, open field kind of area. The tree was off in the distance, not too far from the road. Like, it was far enough from the road that there was no reason for me. Like, I would have had to go onto the grass to hit this tree. Y'all, I was on the road, and when I made the turn, The next thing I know, it's just, and I was like, what happened? And the man that runs it, he was like, what did you do? And I was like, did I hit the tree? And he was like, yep. I was like, where did it come from? Because the tree was nowhere near the road. So, yeah. And then I hit an ambulance. Well, technically the ambulance ran into me, but I didn't have enough time to get through the intersection, so I should have waited. So that was my fault. But that was right at the end. So, but all the other ones I did good on. So, did a simulator. Then the later part of that day, we went over the Smith system. If you are in CDL school, I'm pretty sure you have covered it or will cover it during your time in CDL school. And for those that don't know, I'm just gonna say look it up. But basically the Smith system is just techniques that, because you can use these same techniques in a car. It was originally created for like regular vehicles. And then it was just, shifted to transfer into trucking. So basically it's like things you look out for on the road while you're driving to help you be a safer driver. So we did a whole class on that. And again, this is on day 2. And so the instructor, he was like, he had some business to take care of over the weekend. So he was like, I don't work on weekends, so we gonna be done by Friday. So when I tell you they was rolling through that stuff, they was rolling, okay? Like I said, normally it's 5 days. And we done it in 3. So there's that. So, did all that, day 2, day 3. So here's where things kind of get a little shaky. So, day 2 was Thursday. So Thursday night, I get back to my hotel room. Also, mind you, so if you decide to go at Warren and staying in their hotel, you will get a roommate, basically. If you don't, then it's just a lucky circumstance. But more than likely, you're going to get a roommate unless you pay for a room by yourself. Because when I got there, they asked me about, the recruiter did, she asked me about, was I okay with having a roommate? So I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'll deal with it for a little bit. So, and the guy asked me when I checked in, was I okay with having a roommate? And I was like, if I have to. So I was like, how much is it if I wanted a room by myself? And I want to say he said it was $55 a night. And I was like, oh, no thanks, because I don't have those funds to be spending on that right now. And then I don't know how long I'm going to be here at the hotel either. So, like, waiting for a trainer. So, I'm good. So, I got a roommate Wednesday. And then Thursday, when I got in from class, unexpectedly, we had to move rooms because there was a leak in the shower. And the people had to go, maintenance people or whatever, had to go in and cut a hole in the ceiling and all that jazz. So they had already moved my roommate into another room. So then I had to be moved. So when I went downstairs, she was like, do you want to go back in with the same roommate, or you know, so I was like, do you have anything that's vacant right now where nobody's in there? And so she was like, I doubt it, but I can check. So she looked. Unfortunately, she did not. So I was like, yeah, just put me back in there with her. So she was like, was there an issue as to why you didn't want to go back in there with her? Or I was like, no, I like my space, okay? I'm an introvert and I just, you know, I just like my space, ma'am. So anyway, so I was like, it's fine. So she give me the key or whatever. I get all my stuff, drug back up to this other room. So, get in there, get my stuff back organized and put up. So then, I get myself ready to bed for bed, and during the night, I kind of start feeling bad. Just you know how like when something coming on, you're getting a cold or something, you just feel blah. That's kind of how I started feeling. And then Friday morning, when I woke up, it was just, I don't know. I had a headache. My nose was running. I wasn't really stuffy at the time. My nose was just running, and I just felt it was kind of like a bunch of like pressure in my face, and it terrible. But I pushed forward because I was like, I done come too far to let this get me now. So went on to orientation. So we still had to finish the Smith system stuff. So we had to do like an actual drive in town, and actually practice the steps of the Smith system. So basically what it is, the instructor, we were in like a 12-passenger van, and we split up into groups because like I said, there was like 8 of us. So they kind of wanted it to roll pretty quick. So I think there was like 6 of us in my van, the van I was in. And so the instructor, which was the military police guy, which he kind of started like, by the last day, he was just like real cool, chill, and relaxed. So I guess it take him time to kind of like warm up and get a feel for the group. But so he got in the driver's seat. He starts driving. So we go through town. Well, we went through a couple of towns. And so basically like he's driving and he's like, you know, if vehicles are approaching, he's like, you know, there's a vehicle to my left approaching. There's a vehicle to my rear. If you're driving down the street and there's like maybe a car coming up on a side street, you know, you point out the car on the side street. If there's people, you know, walking in the crosswalk, that's, you know, a hazard. You know, you're always looking like so far ahead. And so, you know, you call out speed limit signs, just all that stuff. Like I said, look it up if you want the accurate steps to it. So, he gets up there and he does that. So I was like, which was kind of intimidating because I was like, do we got to say it like that? Because mine ain't gonna sound like that. So, also, I should have started with this in the beginning too. So, y'all know when I went to school, I was the only female in my class. So, in my orientation class, we had 1, 2, 4. That's 8. 4. 4 ladies in the class. So that like it was half ladies, half men. half women, half men. So like I said, there was like 8 of us. So yeah, that was really good. So one of the ladies in the class, she was sitting in the seat. Her and her husband were doing the orientation together. So her and her husband were sitting on the seat in front of me. So I was like, I don't know if mine gonna sound like that. So she was like, don't worry, cause mine ain't gonna sound like that either. So I was like, okay. So which it wasn't bad. When I got up there. So I was kinda, I wasn't speeding, but he said I was going kind of fast. Cause he was like, you done passed the stopping point. And I was like, did you say it? And then he just he was like, I wasn't about to tell you to slam on brakes to stop at this place, right? And I was like, well, you could have said it like back here to where I had time to slow down. So, sir, don't do me. Anyway. So did that. That went good. Then we went back to the terminal and basically just finished online presentations and stuff. The module situation, so after they introduced it to us on the first day, we did get some class time to work on it. But then after that, it's like on your own. But you have to have it done before the end of your orientation, like the class part of orientation, or else basically you won't proceed to going out. They'll stop your whole situation. So because we finished in the 3 days, I had like 2 extra days. Well, technically 3, because we had until Monday to get them done. So, I had to work on the modules or whatever. But we just had a few presentations that we had to do, and then that was pretty much it. Then he finished up his stuff. Then they had a driver support rep to come in, and she did a whole presentation on basically what the transition would be like as we were waiting for a trainer. So she went through all that. I'm not going to go into details on that stuff because it's really not important. But so like I said, I'm still feeling bad at this point, but I'm pushing through. So we finished early that day, thank goodness. I go back to the hotel and I just kind of try to get myself together. So the whole weekend goes by, and basically I spend it trying to doctor myself to get better. I get a stuffy nose, and just all the things. I had like this little cough thing going on, and then I had got to a point where like I couldn't smell nothing, but like, you know how you can tell when your nose is stuffy because you literally cannot type thing. I was able to do that, but I couldn't smell nothing. Because I had packed some, my mother had this, if my ladies probably know, Dr. Bronner's, the peppermint kind. I had never used it before, but I was trying to pack like the travel size stuff. So I had this little bottle of like some Dr. Teal's, but it was almost gone. So I put some of her Dr. Bronner's in there to take with me. So and also like essential oils help to like open up your nasal pathways. Because eucalyptus oil is like, the last time I was sick, which was years ago, then I had a stuffy nose. Eucalyptus oil was like my saving grace. And I had even told a friend of mine who was in the trucking industry. They had gotten sick, and I told them to go get some eucalyptus oil, and it worked wonders. So I could not find anywhere. I couldn't find the bottle that I had bought. I had got from Walgreens. Walgreens didn't have none. CVS didn't have none, and I wasn't trying to go to Walmart. So yeah, I was in a mess. So then Monday rolls around. So then at this point, we have to start doing like a check-in process with the driver support lady. And we essentially are getting an update on when we will then transition to a trainer. So this is how basically we get paid during the orientation. So every morning she comes in, checks in. If there's any updates on when we're getting a trainer, she'll let us know. If not, then you just go back to your room. So pretty much we did that Monday, and then I just basically spent the rest of the day trying to, again, still doctor myself and get it together. So then I mentioned to my friend, I was like, I wonder if I should mention to them that, you know, like, hey, I'm not feeling the best right now, and, you know, I just don't feel comfortable. Like, if y'all assign me a trainer, like, tomorrow, I don't think it would be a good idea for me to, like, go with them, not knowing, like, what's going on. So, you know, they were like, you know, they thought that would be a good idea. So then I mentioned it to my mom, and she was like, yeah, you probably should. Because then she was like, you know, if you're not better by Wednesday, I'm going to need for you to go find a doctor to go to or something. So, Tuesday comes. So, I did the check-in, and one of the guys from my class, she was telling him, you know, he was getting ready to go with a trainer soon. So he needed to go ahead and get things rolling. So when she did mine, she was like, it's gonna be soon. So I was like, okay. So go back to my room. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna do my laundry today, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tell them, because I don't want her to come here tomorrow and be like, all right, girl, you're getting a training tomorrow, so get your stuff together. So I sent an email. I was trying to email her, but I didn't have her direct email. It was just kind of one of those general emails that I guess all the staff have access to, because her supervisor emailed me back. And so he was like, so I basically told him that, you know, I had been feeling bad the last few days, and that, you know, I just didn't feel comfortable if they were to place me with a trainer like this week, you know, getting on the truck right now. And so especially not knowing what was going on. So he was like, okay, cool, no worries, but we'll have to put you on medical leave. So I was like, oh shoot. So mind you, I had not been paid yet for orientation, because when we started in the middle of the week. So payroll happens every Thursday, and then you get paid on Friday. So because of us starting on Wednesday, we wouldn't get our first check until this week that we're in now, that I'm debating on, you know, what to tell them. So, again, mind you, I had not been paid yet. And so he was like, so I said, is this unpaid? And so he was like, yeah, unfortunately, you won't be getting paid during this time. But once you're better, all you have to do is just contact us and we'll get you back, pick right back up in the process of waiting for a trainer. So I'm like, so I said, so y'all still gonna pay me though for them days of orientation that I did. And he was like, oh yeah, you'll still get that. Basically up until like right now. Because when I tell you they work fast, they work fast. So I had to contact their safety department at headquarters, which is in Omaha, Nebraska. I had to contact them to do what did he call it? A medical report, safety report, basically about me being sick. So, the lady asks you different questions, like what kind of medicine you've been taking, the symptoms that you've been having, blah, blah, blah. So, depending upon what you tell them, that will then determine if they're going to require you to see a doctor or if it's just like a, get better and then just let us know when you're ready to come back. So she was like, based on the symptoms, she was like, yeah, we not gonna require you to go see a doctor, but if you do go see one, we'll need to know like what they say and then the medications that you'll be taking. So I was like, okay, so did that. So then I was contemplating. So I also asked him, I was like, so do I have to go home or do I stay here or like what? So he was like, you're more than welcome to stay at the hotel until you get yourself together. Or he was like, you can go home and come back type thing. So I was like, well, I'm not getting paid. And then too, I don't know how long this is going to last, whatever it is. So I don't want to be like laid up in here. And then two, also having, my roommate had left by this point to go back, she was in training. So she had left to go back out for her training. But it was like her second time leaving out and coming back. She came back for the weekend. And the first time she only took a few things. She had left some stuff. Second time she took everything. So I was like, I don't know if she coming back or, so then I would have to deal with like getting somebody new in here. And another thing, so if you're thinking about going with them, like their hotel situation, so it's not just, I thought it was just people in orientation, but it's also like the drivers as well that currently drive, that you could possibly be rooming with. So they put you like, women together, men together. But yeah, it could be a student in orientation as well, or it could be somebody that's already driving. So just FYI, because I didn't find that out until a girl I'm friends with, she let me know, but I was already down there by that point. So I was like, well, thanks for letting me know, because I didn't realize that. So yeah, that was another thing. So yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm going home, because I'm depleting my savings basically at this point, and I don't know, what they charge down here for like out-of-pocket doctor's fees, and all that stuff. So I was like, I'd just rather go home, be with my family, and figure out what's going on, and then I'll just come back. So my mom had said that she would basically, so they would, in coming back, they would get me either a rental car or bus ticket to get back. And so I was gonna do the bus ticket, but yeah, I ain't never rode on the bus before, and I ain't really heard good things about the bus. So I mean, I'm not opposed to it, like if I had to, but yeah, it's just, you know, it's not giving what it's supposed to give. Like, I just, you know, I mean, come on. But yeah, so my mom was like, you know, I'll just take you back. And so I was like, okay, fine. So I used almost my last little bit of savings that I had to book me a flight to get back home. So got back home, went to the doctor the next day. Thankfully, he said it did not seem to be, you know what, it was just more like a upper respiratory infection, and just like allergies. And then my friend that works for them, she said also too, sometimes when she stays at the hotel, her allergies act up. So I don't know if it was something at the hotel or what. So there's that. So just be, you know, when you go into these different companies and staying in their accommodations, you know, just be mindful of that. Because I figured it had to be like a change in environment. I thought maybe it might have been like with the weather. Because they had, like I said, it was a bunch of storms and stuff going on the day that I was supposed to leave. So I think it was just a combination of things. So gave me some medicine, and that was that. So here's now where we get into why I'm still here and I'm not going back. So my aunt had texted me randomly just to check in to see how things were going. Mind you, this is my mother's sister. They are like very, very close. She is a minister as well. So she had texted me and she was like, hey, Brett, I'm just, you know, texting to check on you to see how things are going. So I said, well, I'm actually home. I said I got sick, so I decided to come home. They had put me on medical leave, and I wasn't going to be paid for that time, so I just decided to come home. So she then says, now, yeah, I never really talked about like my personal circumstances in like my decision to get into trucking. But I will say it wasn't easy. You know, I had people that were very, very close to me that gave me a lot of pushback during my journey of getting into this. So now I say that to say she never really voiced to me, you know, that there was any issue with it. So when she said what she said, it kind of had me like, oh, okay. But basically she was just like, you know, don't take this as coincidence, that this is happening the way it's happening. She was like, you know, I really want you to just seek God and to pray about this situation on, you know, whether or not you need to go back. So I was like, okay. So then a couple days later, my mom says, I need to text your aunt to tell her, you know, that you're home. So I said, well, she know already. I said, because she had texted me and I, you know, told her that I was home. So she was like, oh, what'd she say? And so I told her, I read to her the text message that she said. So then she proceeds to say that she basically had the exact same conversation with my dad as far as, you know, me needing to really see if this is the direction that I'm supposed to be going. Because so before I left, the week before, I believe, it might have been 2 weeks before. Well, no, it was a few weeks before I was supposed to leave. I was presented with the opportunity that it seemed like it was good. But it would prolong me getting into trucking. So in my mind, and at the time when it came up, I was kind of like, well, is, you know, is that God trying to tell me, you know, I don't need to pursue this anymore, or, you know, or is it just trying to be like a stumbling or a delay in, you know, me going into it. And so, needless to say, I didn't go through with the situation because some other stuff transpired, and I was just like, that wouldn't be a good idea for me to take on this opportunity right now. So then with the flight getting canceled, so that was thing number 2, and then me getting sick. So then I was like, okay, so let me like sincerely go before him and ask, is this really the path that I'm supposed to be on right now? So I had seen this video on TikTok, I believe. And so this girl was saying that she had prayed and asked for 2 specific signs. Well, it was a few different things, I guess, that she was praying about. But, you know, she asked for to be shown 2 specific things. You know, one for if it was a yes and one for if it was a no. It was a little bit more to it than that, but basically it was, you know, a go or no. And so I had thought about that, and so I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So I wrote it out in my phone, and so I asked for 2 specific things. So one for, you know, yes, this is the right path. Yes, go back. Keep doing what you were doing. The other thing was, you know, no, don't go back. You know, not at this time. So basically, whenever let's see, I think I did this on a Wednesday, I believe. And then, let's see, I think I typed it out on a Wednesday. And, let's see, it was like a Wednesday or Thursday. Anyway, I typed the prayer out, and so I left it at that. So then I kind of was just looking out for the signs, and the things I asked for were things that if I saw them, then I know like it had to be like God speaking to me, because I didn't want to use something like every day that I, like a butterfly or um I don't know, something that you would just see out every day, a red car, or so I asked for stuff that was not common, or really that doesn't exist in the real world, in a sense. It would have to be something that, was created by somebody, or something like, because the example the girl gave in the video, I think it was like a blue tree, and she said she was at a gas station and she happened to look, and there was a huge like mural painting on the side of the building, and it was a blue tree. But like, there's no such thing as a blue tree, so you would have to see it in some capacity like that. So that's kind of what I asked for. So Saturday comes, and my niece and my brother and sister-in-law and them are here. So my youngest niece. And so she wanted to sleep with me that night. So when we were going to bed, so she was like, TT, I want to watch a movie. So I was like, all right, what you want to watch? What do you want to watch? So she wanted to watch something on Disney Plus. So this is important because it comes back to how I know that, So about a month ago, the Disney Plus thing stopped working. So it was saying something about the subscription that we had was not compatible with the Roku box. So I hadn't been able to use it for like the last month. But I figured it wasn't going to change, so I just hadn't checked on it. So she was like, I want to watch Disney Plus. I said, I don't know if it's going to work. So, but you can tap on it and see. So she clicks on the app, and it opens up the screen where it has the different choose your profile thing. Because she has a profile up there too. And the profile come up just as clear as day. So I said, well, I guess you needed to be here for it to work then. And so she was like, yes, TT, that's what it was. And so I was like, okay. So they leave that Sunday. So I was like, well, since it's working now, let me see if there's anything new on here. Mm-hmm. So I go browsing through the little section where it talks about the new movies and stuff. So this particular movie pops up where a movie pops up that looks familiar. So when I was on the flight, actually going to Atlanta and coming back, I watched this specific movie on the plane. But because the flight is not that long, it only played so much of the movie on the flight. So, and even on the flight, like, I wasn't really paying full attention to the movie. Don't ask me what I was doing, because I really don't know. It was just playing. And so I was like, oh, there's the movie that I was watching on the plane. So I was like, well, let me actually watch it, since I really wasn't paying it much attention on the flight. So I turned the movie on and I'm watching it. And as I'm watching the movie, and it's a Disney movie, but it's like a kind of animated style, not cartoon animated, but I know there's a technical term for it, but anyway. So, watching the movie, and the very thing that I asked for, that was a no. Don't go back right now. It popped up in the movie. And I was like, so I'm just, okay, so the thing I asked for, that was a no, was a pink tree. Like I said, I got the idea from the girl's video. She asked for a blue tree, so I said, well, a pink tree, because where you gonna see one at? So in the movie, the movie is called Strange World, just in case, if anybody's seen it, then you know what I'm talking about. Like I said, I had never heard of this movie. I had never seen advertisement for it. Like I said, the Disney Plus had not been working for like the last month. So I knew nothing about this movie. So there was no way that I would have, when I wrote that prayer out, that I would have known that was in that movie. And then, like I said, on the flight, I really was not paying it no attention. And then, like I said, because of the time of the flight, it didn't make it to this particular point in the movie where the pink tree or trees present themselves. So, I see the tree. And this is how, like, we as people try to change up what God is saying to us when we know good and well that's what he's saying. We try to make it, fit what we want. So in my thinking, because they don't look like a tree that's like outside. It has the makeup of a tree, but like the top, it wasn't like leaves. They were like, it looked like pink bubbles, basically, where the leaves would be. So in my mind, I was like, is that even a tree though? And then, I don't know if I'll be able to insert the video clip, because I did record it on my phone. But the character specifically says, like, when I had the thought, like, is this really a tree? The character goes up to said tree and grabs it, because the tree is like doing like a breathing motion. And so he even like grabs or hugs the tree and says, y'all, sorry, my sister decided to dump the trash right now. The character even says, oh my goodness, these trees look, even these trees look something, he said, but he specifically calls it a tree. So I was like, okay, God, like I hear you. I hear you. So, that's been what, 2 weeks ago now? So I've been going through like all the emotions. The first week, I didn't even go out of the house. Like, I stayed in the house all week, which is not uncommon for me, to be honest. But, like before I left, we would go do like our little walks and stuff or whatever. But the first week, I was just not feeling it at all. So I was kind of just, sitting still and just sitting in my feelings, basically. Then that weekend was my niece's birthday. which I had wanted to be here for anyway. But I had just kind of accepted the fact that, you know, I wouldn't, because I thought I was going to be on the road. So I was actually able to be here for my niece's birthday party, see her, spend time with her. And then like, so we keep her 2 nights out of the week. She has dance. So she didn't know I was home. The day I came home was one of the nights that she had dance. So my mom picked her up and brought her home. She had been sleeping in my room while I was gone. And when she walked in, she was just like, "What are you doing here?" So she was really excited for me to be home. So and she's also had a dance recital this past weekend that I was able to be here for. So yeah, so I'm in a better space now than I was a couple weeks ago. I still don't understand, you know, why. I know why. I feel, you know, there's something better on the other side of this. You know, my plan wasn't to get into trucking for long term. It was just kind of a stepping stone to get me to where I want to be in life. You know, I had this thing, like when I left from my last job, I wanted to be in a space where like I could own my own time. Like, you know, I didn't have to worry about asking, you know, my boss to have time off, or worrying about, you know, trying to meet this objective, or you know, trying to do this or trying to do that for the sake of somebody else's dream and goal. So I've always had this, you know, thing where I wanted to do something purposeful. And I feel like that's where I'm being pushed towards. You know, and I keep telling people, like, I'm basically in my trust God season, because I don't have anything lined up. Like, the trucking was the plan. Like, that was supposed to be my stepping stone to, you know, entrepreneurship, basically, and, you know, other things. So now I'm kind of left sitting here trying to figure things out. So not so much in a space of you know, me trying to figure it out, because I know that you know, the same way that I asked for the yes or no, I know that pretty much it can be provided, you know, what my next step is. It's just that the uncertainty of it. And that's one thing that I tend to struggle with, just me as a person, the not knowing, and just the fact that, you know, like, I still have bills that I have to pay. Nothing, you know, major. Like, I stay with my parents, so I don't have, you know, like a mortgage, rent payment, or anything like that. I paid my car off before I started trucking school, so because I wanted to make sure that expense was taken care of. But I have, like, you know, little things that I've acquired over time, you know, that have to be paid for. And I don't know. So that's where I'm at right now. I've tapped back into, I think I posted it on here a little while before I left. I had tapped into like journal creation and stuff like that. So I've been kind of getting back into that. I'm also into, fitness and whatnot. So I've been tapping back into that. So that's basically where I'm at, where I am. Like I said, I'm in my trust God season at this point. I'm just, praying for direction. And I know there's purpose behind this. It's just, So, yeah, I'm just hoping that me sharing this aspect of my journey will somehow encourage somebody else along the way that may need, encouragement or what have you. So, also, I am going to, all right, that's your third cup of juice. All right, that's enough. You're gonna drink it all. That's enough for right now. You done had 3 cups this morning already. So, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Like I said, hopefully this will encourage someone along the way. As far as the channel goes, I will likely I've already changed the name of the channel, so it's probably going to pivot. So if you want to, stick around, I'm not quite sure what direction it's going to go in. And it might just be me, getting on here, sharing my journey to, the next space in my life. So yeah, like I said, I'm in my trust God season at this point. Cause, it's the unknown. I don't know how it's going to be done. I don't know when it's going to be done. But I'm trusting the process. So I know this is just and I won't say it's a setback, because I feel like everything happens for a reason. I can't see it right now, but there's a reason, and there's something better on the other side of this. It's gotta be. It has to be, because like I said, I know that I was created for something profound, something amazing, and purposeful. And so yeah, so like I said, if y'all want to hang around, I would appreciate it. If not, I do understand, because I know most of y'all came here for the tricking content, and baby, listen, I was here for it too. But that's not the direction right now. So Like I said, I may just transition this into kind of documenting my journey to this next phase, and you know, whatever that looks like. So if you guys decide to stick around, thanks. If not, it's been fun. I've enjoyed y'all for the little bit of time that you were here. I hope you were able to get something from my videos, and if you decide to stick around, you know, I'll see y'all in the next one.
Honeys are shaped like bottles, but now you see, and now there's more than body, face, and smile. You see me and good looks beyond it, you feel inspired. I'm here to excel with you, here to break bread with you, here to travel the world and sleep in different beds with you, here to make revenue, no ways to question you.